Today I want to tell you about an effective technique we've developed here at the cottage to help with anxiety and depression. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm the clinical aromatherapist and founder of the Moonhaven Cottage here in Cornwall, up Western Australia. So some years ago we were getting a lot of people coming through the cottage that were dealing with anxiety, depression and just general stress. And so I put my thinking cap on and came up with an effective essential oil blend that could be used to help elevate the serotonin and oxytocin levels in the body and basically just help combat the anxiety. But we were missing something. We needed something that would help reinforce that beneficial effect of the essential oils on the body. So in conjunction with a few psychologists and psychiatric friends that I just consulted, we developed this what we call pattern interrupt technique, which is really effective. So I thought, well, it's about time I made a video about how to actually do this technique, because it really has helped so many people. Every day I would be sending out one of our pulse point potions to help people with stress and anxiety and depression using this technique. And so if you come to the cottage, you often see me teaching this to people on an individual basis. But I thought I'd put a video together for you today. So I formulated two products that can be useful, and really it's up to you which one you prefer. One is our Relax Pulse Point Potion, and that is more of a floral scent based on rose, geranium and lavender and a few other lovely essential oils. And the other one is the Uplift, which is based on citruses, the citrus oils, and both are equally effective. It's really what your scent preference is. So how do we do the technique? We call it pattern interrupt for a reason. You know, when you're starting to feel really uptight and you get that and your breathing becomes really high and shallow, and someone set you off somewhere or something's happened and you're just in that very bad space, and you just, those thoughts of what's been happening is rolling over and over in your mind. Well, this is the perfect time to use this technique. So before I start the actual technique, what I get people to do is to think of a beautiful hug, a hug memory where you feel warm, safe, secure and wonderful. It's important that we use something that's very uplifting and not sad. So not someone's passed away, or a hug where it brings sad memories. It has to be very warm, uplifting, loving. You don't want those big bear hugs where you just sink into the hug and it makes you feel very wonderful. I want you to have a memory of that in your mind. It's really important that you have a strong memory. Then we'll get into the technique. So keep that hug memory in mind. There's a reason for that. So I'm going to use Relax because that's the one I prefer when using this technique, and I will do this every now and then. I'm just checking that connection. I use this technique quite often when I'm sort of, something's challenging me and I'm getting that uptight feeling. So what we do is, I'm just making sure the roller ball is working on this one. We put it here on your temple, underneath your jawline and underneath your chin. And you should be able to smell that quite strongly after a few seconds, which I can now. So what I want you to do when you apply this, preferably find yourself a little corner where you're not so obvious. It makes it easier for you to relax. Close your eyes and take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. And I mean breaths that come from your belly. 3 long, slow, deep breaths, and replay that beautiful hug memory in your mind. Now that could be a hug memory with a partner, parent, child, fur baby, whatever makes you feel wonderful. So it's 3 long, slow, deep breaths, replaying that hug memory in your mind. And after you've done those 3 breaths, you can open your eyes. And at first you're just transported a little bit, but there's certainly an improvement in mood. If you do this 40 or 50 times, it becomes a reinforced behavior, and often you'll find your mind going off into that space even before you start your breathing exercises. Now, how does this work? Well, the first thing is we're not thinking about the thoughts that are winding us up. That's a powerful technique in and of itself. It's a diversion therapy. The next thing that's happening is the essential oils are actually releasing the serotonins, oxytocins, the relaxing hormones and chemicals into your brain so that you do basically relax. The abdominal breathing is increasing the CO2 in your bloodstream, and that is starting to relax you a little. You're not hyperventilating anymore with that abdominal breathing. That releases the correct chemicals into your brain as well. The other thing that's happening, which I think is fascinating with this technique, is that hug memory is bypassing the part of the brain that filters out what's real and what is not. To them, the hug memory is a real, to them being the brain, the hug memory is a real thing that's happening there and then. Can't discern whether it is or isn't happening in reality because it bypasses that part of the brain. And you know when you're being hugged in that beautiful big bear hug and you relax and you just become very much at peace with the person you're being hugged by, that is releasing in its own ways hormones and chemicals into your brain to bring that stress level down. So as I said, this is a reinforced behaviour. The more often you do it, the faster you'll become into that space that you need to be in that's much more calm than where you were. Now I've had people who've used these techniques who were agoraphobic, couldn't walk out the front door through fear and trepidation. And a year or so ago I've had a lady come and tell me that she had not left her home for 10 years and she had gone to the movies for the first time in many, many years and did not feel at all uneasy. So that, to me, that's a huge breakthrough. If you find that you can't use this technique or you're feeling uptight that the technique is a bit too public with your eyes closed and people thinking a bit weird, use it with your eyes open because we're always off with the birds somewhere and no one's going to take notice of that whatsoever. So if you want more information, have a look down below. I'll comment a link to an article I've written about anxiety and how to deal with it. You'll also be able to download the fact sheet on Pulse Point Potions, which has where to reply, what to do, and I've also got a fact sheet you can download called the Pattern Interrupt Fact Sheet. So do have a look at those, see if that helps, and if you have any questions, comment below, message us on the Facebook Messenger, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Until next time, bye guys.